feel it's fair when I do the curving there. Now, one of the approach there is that whoever gets the highest, that's going to be the new 100, and then 100%, and then everybody, whatever everyone else's get on the exam is compared to the highest score. It so happens that we've been using the ACS exam for several years now. Every semester in each and every of my class, there's one or more student end up with 65 correct answers, or 67 correct answers. Sometimes, and I even had 69 correct answers. So that just basically throw off the entire curve. And because if you use that as 100, you're basically telling everybody you have to get 69 questions correct in order to get 200 points there. So that doesn't really work towards your advantage in terms of curving. So I thought about the way that I conducted the 3 in-class exams there. 25 questions, 4 points each. Okay, so that's 100 points. And we have a total of 200 points on the final exam. And this is how I'm going to curve it. Okay, I will give each question 4 points. So as long as you answer 50 out of the 70 questions correct, you get 200. And the past experience is that this will minimally have a negative impact on your grade. If you have an A before you get into the final exam, there is a fairly good chance that you will end up with an A unless you completely bomb that exam. You still need to get roughly about 88% on the final exam in order to maintain your current grade, whatever you earn there. So I think that based on many semesters of statistics there, I think that works out pretty well. And basically, you only need to answer 50 out of the 70 questions correct in order to get 100. And those people who end up with more than 50 correct answers, I will send you an individual message after I finish grading, telling you how many correct answers you got and give you statistics there. Now, if you get 50 or more correct answers there, and that puts you in the upper 70% in terms of the top 30% in terms of the national average there, and that's a pretty good score. National average was about 35 questions, 35 to 37, so roughly about 50% of the questions. The national average is about when people take that test. Only, the median is 36 or 35 to 36 there. So that's roughly, you get 50% from the raw score there. But if you end up with 35 correct answers, if you can achieve the national average on this test, which I believe we have done, we were able to do that each and every semester, then that means you're going to end up with 70% of the 200 points there, and I will give you 140 points there. And if you do a little bit better, and well, that's about the class average. And every time when we take the exam there, and the class average for the in-class exam there, the class average was about 70%. So it's not an impossible task to do in terms of the level of difficulty of the final exam is slightly more challenging in the way compared to the in-class exam, in the way that it has more questions in there. So you have less time to think about each of the questions there. And as I try to tell you throughout the semester, in class we give you 1 hour or even sometimes a couple more extra minutes there, and you have 25 questions there. And in the final exam you get 2 hours, double the time, but the question is more than double. The question is, we have 70 questions in there. So in terms of the level of difficulty, I think the questions are comparable to what we use for the in-class exam. So the only thing there is that sometimes the terminology, the wording may be slightly different. And another thing here is that on the instruction of that exam, you did see that this is a multiple choice, so if you don't know the answer to a particular question, and guessing may be working towards your benefit there. And I must tell you, in the in-class exam, each question has 5 answers. So your chance of guessing it correctly randomly, well, you have 20% chance. But on the ACS exam, each question only has 4 possible answers. So that increases your odds of guessing it correctly to 25%. So when you answer the questions there, when you take the final exam there, if you look at the question there, is it, where the hell does this question come from? I have no idea. But don't spend much time on it. Just mark the Scantron and move on. And if you want, I will actually, we have the consent from the ACS there. We actually make photocopies of the actual exam. So you can actually write on the exam. If you want to mark on the exam there, you can definitely do that. Since we give you only 2 hours, 70 questions for 2 hours there, and if we do not allow you to write on the exam, then you have to, because sometimes when you work on the exam there, you start writing on it and then realize that you're not allowed to write on it, you have to spend time to erase it. So I brought this up with my colleagues there, is that while we bought enough copies of the ACS exam, we paid them enough. So we should be allowed to make photocopies, and then in that case, and the student will be able to write on them. And after the exam there, all we need to do is to make sure every single copy is collected after the exam, and then we put them in the shred box. So we come to the consensus there that, yeah, we can do that. So you can write on the exam, and there are 70 questions in there, and the curving will be 4 points for each correct answer. Okay, so I don't care which question you answer correctly, as long as you have a correct answer, you earn 4 points there. So out of the 70 questions there, if you answer 50 questions correctly, you will earn 200 points in terms of your final exam grade, and then that will be factored in. And this is a point game, as I always pointed out at the beginning of the semester. Whatever points you earn will determine your final grade. If you have 900 or more points, and you end up with an A. 800 to 900, that's a B. 7 to 8, that's a C. 6 to 7, that's a D. Below 6, that's an F. And there will be no other adjustments, with the exception of the lab. And I normally don't do this, and matter of fact, I hate this. But I was not in charge of the instructional activity for the lab there. So we were told that there will be 8 quizzes in the lab. The lowest quiz will be dropped. And to me, I just never makes sense. I come up with a quiz, I spend the time administering the quiz, and I spend time to grade it. And then in the end, each individual may end up with a different quiz with their lowest points. And I have to go through the grade book and then find out which one is the lowest score on a particular quiz for each person, and then take that out of your total. So that's the only adjustment that we will make, and we will drop the lowest lab quiz, so you will only have 7 lab quizzes to count towards the total of the lab. 220 times 7, that's 140 points, and then you have 110 points for the lab part, total of 250. And then out of the 750 in class for the lecture there, except that final exam curve, nothing will be done. It is basically, it's based on whatever points you earned throughout the semester. Okay, so that's the final exam there. And again, if you click on final exam now on Canvas, well, actually the information is up there since the beginning. If you click on final exam, you will see information related to the final exam there. There's a practice and study guide for the final exam. So make sure you print them out and start working on those things there. And make sure that if you have questions there, make sure you send me a message or see me in person. We'll try to sit down and talk about these things. Okay, so that's the plan. And now today, you are